In this episode of Lodging on Demand, Jennifer Glatt sits down with Jeff Bzdawka, CEO of Hapi, to explore the tech side of hotel operations. He shares what's keeping GMs up at night, how better data connectivity can simplify daily decision-making, and where operators are seeing the biggest wins in efficiency and margins.
Good afternoon and welcome to Lodging on Demand. This is a podcast for hotel owners and operators who want sharper strategy, smarter operations, and real-world perspective from the people shaping hospitality right now. I am Jennifer Glatt, the Senior Contributing Editor for Lodging, and I'm here with Jeff Bzdawka, CEO of Hapi. And on today's episode, we will be discussing hospitality tech. So welcome, Jeff. If you could share a little about yourself, we would love to learn about you.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. It's great to see you again, and love the opportunity to tell a little bit about the journey and talk about, my passion, where hospitality and technology meet. My early hospitality career started, and I consider myself a hotelier first and foremost. Started working for Hyatt when I was in high school, just a few years back. And then coming out of college, held various management positions for Hyatt. And a funny thing happened on my way to becoming a hotel general manager as I was asked to take a temporary assignment and step in and be part of a team that was training Hyatt reservation revenue managers and general managers on a new central res platform that was being deployed. And that temporary assignment really changed my trajectory, and it helped me find my true passion. Again, that connection, that intersection of where hospitality and technology meet. And through my career, a total of 20 years with Hyatt, two separate stints, 10 years. And in between the roles, I held leadership roles, joined Pegasus several years ago, and I was part of the launch and the creation of the Hotel Clearing Corporation, which is now known as Onyx CenterSource, travel agency commission processing. Then I left Pegasus to join TravelClick in their early, very formative years as chief operating officer, and help build that business and build the value that we were bringing to the community, the hospitality community. And then when that was sold to a private equity company, I came back to Hyatt for my second stint. And I really thought I was going to retire at Hyatt. But an interesting opportunity presented itself, and I made the decision to come back to the hospitality tech provider space and was CEO at Noland, a data as a services company in hospitality, specific in groups and event space. We successfully sold that company to Sendine. And upon that exit, a very good friend of mine, the founder of Hapi, who happened to found MTech and the hot sauce, the service optimization platform, said, Jeff, you don't need to look any further. Why don't you join us at Hapi? And I thought, heck, I can be the president of Hapi and happiness. So of course, I'm going to come here. So, and then just recently, we did take the opportunity. And, this is something as leaders, you always need to reassess teams and play to everybody's strengths. And Lewis is a great founder and passionate on entrepreneurial and always looking to run out ahead and what's next and bring change. And Lewis is now our chief strategy officer, and I'm responsible for the day-to-day operations, growing the business and further unlocking value for the customers. So a bit of a long, winding road, but that's kind of who I am and how I got to where I'm at today.
Great. So what signals in the market are most shaping your priorities right now in this role? And where do you see operators feeling the most pressure on a day-to-day basis?
That's a great question. And, there's a lot of uncertainty in the marketplace today. However, this is a good time of year because everybody wrote their end of year and posted their end of year in social and what 25 held, and then people are talking about current challenges. And there's been a lot of white papers published, whether it's from and some in your publication, but trade associations, H&LAs, T100, and then many hospitality tech providers. And if you take a step back and you look and summarize, or even for that matter, ask ChatGPT to summarize, there are three key themes that really come in. And of course, the number one is AI. Everybody is a buzz about AI and really what opportunities that unlocks. The next one is about data quality and accessing data. Complaints, and this has been around for a long time. We have so much data within the industry. And as the saying goes, you're drowning in data but dying for information. So that's a key theme. And then system integration. And those are three common themes. Now, if you look at AI without data access and data quality and system integration, you can't really do AI. So they
Mhm.
all come together nicely. And selfishly, I'm happy to say, and in this case, pun intended, that we solve for that underscore. So it's really leveraging the technology to really help unlock revenue opportunities, to get closer to the guest, to offer what I like to refer to as true personalization versus faux personalization, really getting to know the individual. While I was at Hyatt, Mark Hoppelmasian loved to say, I can't care for you if I don't know you. I can
Mhm.
we can provide service, but to truly care, I need to know you. In order to know you, we need access to that data and the complexity of the environment we operate in. I was just on an industry call a little while ago today, a little earlier today, and there we were talking about your average hotel anywhere from 12 to over 25 systems
Wow.
to operate the hotel, and just that complexity and how do you actually bring that together. So we are really focused on the enablement, data transport, data transformation, unlocking those insights, helping identify ways to increase revenue, but also take work out and cost out, so ultimately you can get that true AI enablement.
So as we think about those tech stacks and how complicated they are or can be, how are you thinking about Happy's role in preventing that sort of integration sprawl?
Yeah, integration sprawl. That's actually a good way to refer to it as. And it really looking at a unified and creating a unified cloud native connectivity layer that replaces fragmented one-off connections in integration points with a single scalable, call it a data hub, sitting in the center, and think of it as a hub with many spokes coming out of it. And with that hub and spoke model, Happy helps do this through centralizing those data streams. While we have five distinct product families, it all starts with our data streaming and the data transport in creating a single data stream. And as you think of that single data stream, how can you build it once and use it everywhere type of
Mhm.
scenario? By having a single unified integration layer versus relying on individual technology providers to provide their own integration piece, you miss that ability to get a single clean data stream to be able to actually monetize and use that. And that data stream is not just to get data into a data warehouse or a data lake or pick your flavor of the landing space that you're playing, but to be able to create experiences off of that single data stream as well. Um, We also then, so centralized data stream, adopting that build once, use many times, then data normalization. And Happy started 8 years ago now with a single use case, and it was helping a particular hotel chain who had multiple PMS solutions make that data that came out look the same, although it was coming from different systems, to make it look the same. And that challenge still exists today. So part of what we do is help normalizing the data so it could be understood, so it could be actually consumed and actioned. We use a cloud native architecture in how we deliver, and it's common. So we embrace AWS, and whether it's in our environment or our client's AWS environment, and that gives us opportunity for scale. And also, we rely on the experts for providing that cloud native architecture. And by being a certified partner with AWS, that gives us that opportunity to take advantage of that and bring that latest technology to our customers. We do our best to do a plug and play type of framework. And then another thing which really makes us a little bit different in a SaaS type of world is if you look at the team, we have just over 100 people today. And I always say you can't have, and being in hospitality, it all starts with people. And being a hospitality tech provider, it's the same thing.
Mm.
And you can't have a great company, you can't have great products if you don't have great people. We have just over 100 people in 18 different countries. But what also makes us somewhat unique as a hospitality tech provider is we have over 1,200 years of hospitality experience. We get it. We've had those problems. We've lived it. We're able to come in and understand, and we listen through the years of hoteliers and experienced people. And then we, of course, bring in new talents and new technology to keep us fresh on the technology side. So, with that single data hub, that single point of connection, what we do is it comes back to enabling efficiency for the hotels and not having to worry about how solutions are stitched together. One of the use cases we enable is something as simple as one of the major hotel chains was the first to bring mobile key into the Apple Wallet environment. That transaction, in order to enable that, it's pretty complex and cuts across multiple solutions. We helped enable that and brought that together and stitched it together so our customer could focus on what they wanted that experience to be versus how to stitch it together.
Right.
So we allow our customers, whether it's hoteliers or hospitality tech providers, to focus on their core products. And whether if it's a hospitality tech provider, how do I develop the best guest experience enablement platform? Or if it's a hotelier, what are those experiences I want to enable? And then how do I remove friction from the system? So it's really, what we are focused on is that single hub to really help hotels, whether better monetize and create revenue opportunities through knowing their guests better and then being able to create experiences. I think, being in that hospitality tech space, we all too often have experienced a situation where mobile key didn't work, or it would work for the guest room but wouldn't work in the health club or wouldn't work in the elevator. And so trying to make that work, or how often, I don't know, Jennifer, if it happens to you, but I long for the day to be able to walk into a hotel that I frequent and be greeted, "Welcome back, Jeff," versus
Right.
standard, "Is this your first time
Yeah.
staying?"
You should know this by now.
Exactly. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh no. But
Yeah.
that's all about data enablement and, ensuring the data is in the hands of the people at the right time to take the right action. And whether you view people that are taking the action or an agent taking the action, they still rely on that same data stream. They still rely on getting data, the right data at the right time. So that enablement platform is critical. So sorry, that's a long answer and a winding road, but that's kind of where we play and how we're shaping the priorities, largely about guest personalization and getting to true personalization. I think that has been the holy grail for the last 15 years, but the
Sure.
way technology is rapidly evolving, I think finally it's within reach.
Mm-hmm.
And then ADR, looking at revenue growth opportunities for this year. I think industry pundits, one thing they all agree on is the industry may be kind of topping out how they can get revenue growth from moving room rate. So it's
Yep.
about creating ancillary revenue
Sure.
opportunities. And then being able to, when you create ancillary revenue opportunities, how are you packaging that and presenting it to the person so it actually matters and it's
Mm-hmm.
relevant?
Right.
High profile, at least within the two major chains I happen to frequent, they know I do not drink wine. But the number of times I'm offered a bottle of wine, where it'd be very different if they offered me a Coke Zero
Mm-hmm.
or vodka, one of the
Yeah.
two type of scenario. So creating an environment to know the guest, to the right package in front of them to capture that ancillary revenue is where that revenue growth is going to come from. And I think it's largely driven by personalization, which again comes back to having access to data.
And
All roads
I think
lead back to data.
Right. And I think the owners and the operators also need to do something with that information once it's collected.
Yeah.
It's, not just do we have it, but are we going to utilize it to better that guest experience and, to make it so that the next time you visit, we're not saying, is this your first time here? We know that this is your fifth time here and we don't need to offer you a bottle of wine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay, so
exactly.
you mentioned chains, um, and obviously hotels at different points of the scale experience that tech pain differently. Where do you see, say, independent hotels and regional operators and even large, platforms, where they surprisingly share some of the same data problems?
Now it's I'm going to answer that a couple different ways if you don't mind. And
Sure.
if it starts with looking at the data stream, and you had just mentioned various stakeholders. And one of the things that makes our business unique to a degree, some may say it's challenging, especially if you're selling into services, and is that complexity. You have a hotel owner, you have the operator, you have the chain or the brand that sits on top. And oftentimes there are the asset managers, and there are different people that have different needs, but it all comes again, and I'm going to sound like a broken record here, off of that same data stream. And really taking the time to understand each shareholder and stakeholder has different questions that they're
Right.
looking to answer from that data stream. Understanding that while a data stream could fit all and provide answers to all, it's not a one size fits all type of approach. So making sure, yeah, and I'm talking to hospitality tech providers here, understanding your audience. Who are you trying to solve challenges for and opportunities, and what questions are being asked? When I was at Noland and when I was at TravelClick, TravelClick had a large business intelligence platform. It really was exciting because we had a large set of data that we could monetize multiple different ways because of that. But anyway, if we bring it back to the hotel level, then on the second piece, um, last year, the second half of last year, Happy published a future of data report where we surveyed global hoteliers from all parts of the industry, and including the operators, including the owners, and the responses were similar by segment. And again, unfortunately, we found that the majority of the respondents, the hotel professionals, work with data daily. More than half, or I should say nearly half, struggle to access the data that's needed to make
Mm-hmm.
decisions, critical revenue and operational decisions. That they may get either if they print reports, they get a stack of reports they have to sift through. Some of the feedback is between my management company, my chain, I'm get multiple dashboards, and I just need to answer two simple questions, and it's hard for me to get at that data. I
Mm-hmm.
need to get in and get out. So, how do you present that data differently? And that's where an AI wrapper on top of data will help solve for that.
Okay.
So, back to one of my earlier references, commonly referred to, and as we looked at our hotel data report, drowning in data, yet dying for information. And I like to add to that, it's really dying not just for information, but actionable insights, being able to unlock something that truly matters. And this gets into those personalized customer moments.
Right.
One of the other key findings that ties to your question from that report is 40% of the respondents and the owners they see they made this big investment in moving to a cloud environment or in the process of moving to a cloud environment. They feel that they're still not able to connect the dots, and that integration is still at the forefront of the industry's challenge and is serving as a blocker itself. And that manifested itself in I'd really like to be able to answer these questions, but I can't access the data in a timely manner.
Right.
And if I'm an owning multiple boxes, I'm sorry, boxes being hotels in this case,
Right.
I get data from this group of hotels daily. I get data from this group of hotels every other day and this group weekly. How can I stitch that together and get meaningful insights into what's really happening today? And then others on the operator side, if I could only know what Jennifer wants so I can sell her the right thing. We all talk about we want to move to attribute-based selling, and attributes are more than just components of a room, but it's components, attributes that matter to Jennifer.
Right.
And then how do I package that? How do I price it? How do I bring that together? Is some of the things that they're asking or expecting to do that vision has yet to be fulfilled.
Okay, so when you have data flowing cleanly across PMS, POS, labor systems, what is a daily or weekly hotel decision that becomes materially easier?
Yeah, you know, as far as being able to, and you had mentioned it earlier in our conversation, the ability to take something in stay that's happening, and I'll use you again as the example. We helped enable real time in time surveys for one of our customers who said, our response rate to guest surveys is not good. And it's also comes too late because they were sending it 3 to 4 days after departure.
Hmm.
So, working with a major survey company that services the industry, We helped enable that based on we trigger basically touch point opportunities. Jennifer just checked in. So at that moment in time, we'll get those quick, that survey out to see if you have what you need. And then if you don't have what you need, something's not right with your room, they're able to take action with it
Right.
right away. The ability then to, or, to find out, and this gets into more of the view, we'd love to be able to tie your air travel and understanding that Jennifer is going to be arriving later than anticipated to be able to accommodate you and maybe offer you when you check in because you arrived later. Can we adjust your checkout time? Anything we can do to help make up for that lost time. So real-time data being able to decision and better able to service the customer. Arrival patterns and staffing related patterns and getting information from the front desk about front desk activity, what's going on at the front desk, triggering how housekeeping is working, what rooms are next, what room types are next, which room they need to go to next, helping bring all of that together and helping bring activity from one part of the hotel to light to the other part from an operational standpoint. If we look at a guest standpoint, being able to call a customer care number and ask for your folio. And the number is pretty staggering. I didn't realize just how often it happens, although I do it myself, where, oops, I didn't get a copy of the folio.
Right.
And you call the hotel may or may not have it, or you go to the accounting department, or you go to an offsite accounting. And it's a challenge for the property, it's a time suck for the property, it's a frustration point for the guest. So we have the ability, and because that data is not sitting in the right place, you're creating a friction point and a disappointment for the guest. So if connected and that data is easily accessible, being able to quickly get it and quickly service it. For one of our larger customers, we processed over 1.8 million folio requests just last year alone.
Wow.
And that actually through taking the individual out of servicing that part of the phone call, creating an IVR, introducing AI, and we're servicing that data up into AI. We take work out of the system for the customer. We get the information to the guest that much quicker, reduce cost, increase customer satisfaction. It's kind of a win-win for all involved.
Right. Yeah, so it really does
And
underlie the guest experience.
Yep, exactly. And underlies the guest experience. And again, I'm going to harp on it again. It's all about data, accessing
Yeah.
data and getting, the flow of data itself and access to it in a timely manner.
Okay, I have a couple of rapid fire quick questions for you to wrap up the interview. Are you a morning person or a late night problem solver?
Definitely a morning person, have been for, geez, the last 15 years. Custom having a global team, like getting up
Right.
early, checking in with them, and getting a jump on the day. So definitely a morning person.
How about the most overused phrase in hotel tech right now?
All right. Before I answer this one, how do you think? Now, Jennifer and I didn't discuss this before. What do you think it is?
Um, Supporting the guest experience?
Oh, and I just blew that because that's all I talked about. No, I come back to, every conference, every discussion, it's all about artificial intelligence.
Right.
And geez, it's new and it's something exciting. Well, first off, AI itself isn't new. Chatbots were back
Right.
decades ago. But I think, in our case itself, our industry has some key foundational work to do to be able to enable and truly unlock the value of what AI can enable. I think we as an industry are at a seminal moment, very similar to when the GDSs, I'm going to date myself, back in the 80s when the GDSs came, and then the birth of the toll-free numbers. Actually, I guess toll-free came before the GDS, but fast followers. And the change that that did to distribution, pace of change much more rapidly, but it's going to be enabled by AI, and that's our seminal moment. But I believe that there is a bit of a yellow lab syndrome. We're running to this ball, but we got some work to do before we can, get there. So I would say it's all about AI. And to that point, actually, I'm going to hold that. I'm not. We'll see if I have time to work that in. Go ahead.
Okay.
Next question.
And the last one, I know you've been in hospitality for a long time, but I think we're all informed by just life experience. So what is the best operational idea you've borrowed from outside hospitality?
Ooh, that's a great question. And I'm going to start with more of a core philosophy or methodology that I embraced early on in my career. And this goes back to, I think, the late 90s, 1990s, when the concept of service profit chain came to be. And it was launched and centered around use cases. I think it was American Express and Southwest Airlines are, I think, the two primary use cases in the book itself and the series. It all comes back to taking care of the customer and your colleagues first and foremost. And then from that, everything else should fall into place. So that is kind of my guiding principle and philosophy. And then more recently, as we look at better ways to, and unfortunately, hospitality, we're doing a much better job today, but traditionally, hospitality has been late to adopt technology, and we're running hard to catch up. But as we look to industries that we can learn from, and especially in the how we package and market and do things retail, especially online, and doing customer-based, guest-based, account-based marketing, listening to and looking at use cases in the retail sector is another sector that we actively monitor and I learn from.
Great. Okay. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for your time today. That is it for this episode of Lodging on Demand. And if you have found value in the conversation, please subscribe and share it. And we'll see you next time. Jeff, have a great day. Thank you so much.
You do the same, Jennifer. And of course, stay happy.
Thank you for listening to Lodging on Demand. If you would like more content like this, please subscribe to Lodging Magazine on YouTube. You can also subscribe to Lodging on Demand wherever you get your podcasts. For news and updates, follow at Lodging Magazine on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and X. Or visit us at lodgingmagazine.com